I'd rather hear an ugly truth rather than an obscure lie. Once you really know yourself, can't nobody tell you nothing about you? Without subtle ingenuity of mind, one cannot make certain of the truth of their reports. Living never wore one so much as the effort not to live. One must wait until the evening to see how splendid the day has been. What is to be, will be, and no prayers of ours can arrest the decree. The essence of technology is by no means anything technological. To go outside what your charge was and to try to solve everything yourself is dangerous. Attack is the secret of defense. Defense is the planning of an attack. In the end, it will all work out okay. The end isn't final if we're not okay with it. If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. What the ancients called a clever fighter is one who not only wins, but excels in winning with ease. I have given my word that only death will take me from you. It shocks me how I wish for what is lost and cannot come back. There's nothing you can't do if you want it bad enough. He who is highly esteemed is not easily conspired against. Where you are in a few months depends on what you do today. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. As soon as you trust yourself, you will know how to live. Be careful who you trust. Salt and sugar look the same. It's not that I'm so smart. It's just that I stay with problems longer. When you trip over love, it is easy to get up. But when you fall in love, it is impossible to stand again. After your death, you will be what you were before your birth. If truth is not acceptable, it becomes the imagination of others. I drink a cup of sunlight every morning to brighten myself. Maybe everyone can live beyond what they're capable of. People say that life is the thing, but I prefer reading. Great results can be achieved with small forces. It is much easier to be brave if you do not know everything. Do not swallow bait offered by the enemy. Do not interfere with an army that is returning home. A single death is a tragedy. 1,000,000 deaths is a statistic. Generally in war, the best policy is to take a state intact. To ruin it is inferior to this. Without knowing the force of words, it is impossible to know more. I have never known any distress that an hour's reading did not relieve. I was never aware of any other option but to question everything. Because you can only die once, but you can suffer forever. Those whose upper and lower ranks have the same desire are victorious. I encounter one example after another of how relative truth is. Colors blind the eye, sounds deafen the ear, flavors numb the taste, thoughts weaken the mind, desires wither the heart. If your actions don't live up to your words, you have nothing to say. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. The worst part of being okay is that okay is far from happy. If I work hard enough, there will be things I can do tomorrow that I can't do today. Our ability to adapt is amazing. Our ability to change isn't quite as spectacular. Life is more or less a lie, but then again, that's exactly the way we want it to be. A constitution that is made for all nations is made for none. I do not like to repeat successes. I like to go on to other things. Don't be afraid of death. Be afraid of the unlived life. Pretend inferiority and encourage his arrogance. Communism is the final logic of the dehumanization of man. I've never had anyone's approval, so I've learned to live without it. Invincibility depends on oneself, the enemy's vulnerability on him. You can measure the size of a person by what makes him or her angry. Your life is a reflection of your thoughts. Think well. Nothing makes a person happier than having a happy heart. The flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long. Life is pain. Anyone who says otherwise is selling something. I'm going to try speaking some reckless words, and I want you to try to listen recklessly. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. Whether we fall by ambition, blood, or lust, like diamonds, we are cut with our own dust. I shall allow no man to belittle my soul by making me hate him. Staying in the past won't help you move on to your future. Whatever you believe with feeling becomes your reality. Everything's a risk. Not doing anything is a risk. It's up to you. You know, the minute you stop thinking about it, it'll happen. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you odd. We are citizens of the world. The tragedy of our times is that we do not know this. I is for integrity. Be honest with yourself and others. The goal is to reduce the time of suffering, not eliminate it. Life isn't worth living unless it is lived for someone else. Be bold. Don't be shy to say no to the future you don't like. Just be real. It saves everyone's time. Face reality as it is, not as it was, or as you wish it to be. Great men are like eagles and build their nest on some lofty solitude. The superior man thinks always of virtue. The common man thinks of comfort. You will never know how high you can climb until you reach the top. Memory can make a thing seem to have been much more than it was. The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion that stands at the cradle of true art and true science. If everything seems under control, you're not going fast enough. Feeling guilty does not set us free. Being equipped sets us free. If their forces are substantial, prepare for them. If their forces are strong, avoid them. Perfect happiness is the absence of striving for happiness. Life is fragile. We're not guaranteed a tomorrow, so give it everything you've got. Stand in the divine rain, and seeds of wisdom will grow in your soul. We never live. We are always in the expectation of living. When envoys are sent with compliments in their mouths, it is a sign that the enemy wishes for a truce. A trusting heart will follow only those who truly follow their heart. Keep working hard, and you can get anything that you want. Every ounce of my cynicism is supported by historical precedent. Herd melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. The tragedy of life is what dies inside a man while he lives. A real scientist solves problems, not wails that they are unsolvable. Being true to yourself is the greatest force to uncover the soul. The man who has forgotten self may be said to have entered heaven. Where attention goes, energy flows. Where intention goes, energy flows. My fear was not of death itself, but a death without meaning. I would never die for my beliefs, because I might be wrong. Truth is as straight as an arrow, while a lie swivels like a snake.